Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Unwoke Thoughts. We got a big show for you today. Big show. I hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. But yes, we have a big show. A lot happened over the weekend. Lots to talk about. We have some big news. Donald Trump is returning to Twitter. Yes. Well, I guess it's not Twitter anymore. It's X. But tonight, mark this down, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I will be streaming his interview with Elon Musk, which will be taking place on an X Space. So for those of you that don't know what an X Space is, formerly, used to be Twitter Spaces, it's kind of like a giant group telephone call where you can listen in. And if you want to say something, you can raise your hand or request to speak. And there's moderators that can bring people up to speak. And it's kind of cool. So Donald Trump will be giving this interview with Elon Musk 7 p.m. tonight. Tonight is Monday. So Monday the 12th, 2024. Yes, so that's tonight. So make sure you are tuned in. But Elon Musk has confirmed this time and also gave us a few more details about the interview that we'll talk about here in a bit. According to a leaked memo obtained by Fox News, Donald Trump is preparing to sue the Department of Justice, the DOJ. Yes, it's good news. Of course. It's definitely good news. It's good to see Trump going on the attack against this weaponized and anti-American Justice Department. Yes, I said it. It's weaponized and anti-American, and I believe that wholeheartedly. So we're going to find out what he's suing them over. The Trump campaign was hacked over the weekend, and apparently some documents related to J.D. Vance's vetting process was sent from the hacker to a certain news outlet. And Microsoft was quick to point blame at one particular country. Yes. Donald Trump accuses Kamala Harris of embellishing the crowd shots of a rally with AI, and I have some examples that we can check out. Also, Kamala Harris, listen to this, has finally released her first policy. Aren't you excited, guys? Her first policy proposal of her very own. Wow, she's growing up so fast. And guess what it is? No tax on tips. Wow. That sounds extremely familiar. Now, where have I heard that one before? Can you guys help me out? But, pretty ingenious policy if you ask me. Kamala Harris's Secret Service team was forced to issue an apology after they broke into a salon in Massachusetts. Yeah, they broke into a salon in Massachusetts while Harris was at a fundraiser nearby. They also tried to block security cameras with duct tape. But we have some footage from a camera that they missed, so we're going to look at that. Jesse Ventura has dropped an endorsement, or has endorsed a candidate. It's probably a better way to say it. But you'll never guess who he is endorsing and why. I think the why is almost more surprising than the who. I don't know which one is more surprising. But can you guys guess who Jesse Ventura is endorsing? No cheating now. But the media and the Harris campaign have responded to the stolen valor accusations against Tim Walz. Yeah. Claiming that he misspoke when he talked about retiring as a command sergeant major, and also when he claimed to have experienced combat. But it really seems like this guy, Tim Walz, misspeaks a lot. Nearly every day, at least from what I've seen, another video or recording drops of Tim Walz misspeaking, I was thinking he should call the Guinness Book of World Records because he may hold the title of the world record for misspeaking. Tim Walz, call the Guinness Book of World Records right now. You may hold a world record and not even know it. That would be something that, the Harris campaign could, prop up. Hey, look it. Tim Walz, along with his other accolades of being this great combat veteran, also holds the world record, approved by Guinness Book of World Records of misspeaking. So just one other accolade for Tim Walz. So I just want to just let the Harris campaign know that, just in case they want to capitalize on this opportunity. But Joe Biden gives an interview with CBS where he talks about being pressured out of the race. And also, he was seen lounging on the beach. Yes. Nancy Pelosi indicates that the letter that was released on Joe Biden's account, his X account, when he dropped out, she kind of hints that it was not written by him. You don't say. That's surprising to nobody ever. And finally, J.D. Vance gives 3 interviews with 3 different news outlets in one single day. And in one of those interviews, he rips into Kamala Harris for still not doing one single interview since she was installed as the Democrat nominee. But before we get into the show, guys, if you could leave a like on this video, it would really help me out a lot. And also, comment down below and let me know what you think of the show. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Let me know. And if you enjoy the show, consider subscribing. But ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. Donald Trump and Elon Musk interview. The two titans collide. Yes, look at this little graphic that was being shared around on X earlier yesterday. So officially, Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, and 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Now, I'm in Central Standard Time, so just so everyone knows, I don't know how many of you guys are in different time zones, but just to give everybody an idea, because this is going to be a big show, so it's going to be very important. Like I said, it's going to be a X Twitter space. And this is something that Elon Musk also confirmed himself with a tweet or a post, an X, a zeet, if you will. I don't know what to even call it. Yesterday, he said, live conversation on X with @RealDonaldTrump and me at 8 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. So this could mark Donald Trump's return to Twitter, or no longer Twitter, X. I saw this post the other day. It was like a poll. You know, how many of you still call it Twitter? How many of you call it X now? And it's just like, I call it both. It's so hard to call it just one or the other. If I say Twitter, I almost always, follow it up by X now, or, formerly Twitter or something like that. I kind of like, it's like a mix. It's kind of hard to stop calling it Twitter for some reason, because a tweet, the tweet thing, I think that's going to be the hardest one. I don't think I can ever just call it a post. I just like the word tweet. It sounds so legit. But another thing that Elon Musk posted about this interview with Donald Trump is this. Mario Nafal screenshotted this. Elon Musk said this. He said, this is an unscripted with no limits, or this is unscripted with no limits on subject matter, so it should be highly entertaining. So that's a surprise to no one. Of course, Donald Trump is going to go into this interview unscripted. He's the only candidate that's running for president right now. I guess RFK Jr. would. He would go into an interview unscripted. Him and Donald Trump are the only candidates that will give unscripted interviews, or really that have given any interviews whatsoever. And we are what? I mean, we're late in the year of the election season. And we had Tim Walz and Kamala Harris playing games about debates and all these other things. We have Kamala Harris, who only agrees to 1 out of 3 debates with Donald Trump. Tim Walz agrees to debate with J.D. Vance after half of Minnesota has already voted. Yeah, the debate date for Tim Walz is after early voting has already started. So a lot of Minnesota is going to already have voted. And then Tim Walz and get up there and debate J.D. Vance. It's just like, these people, guys, I mean it. It frustrates me to no end, these Democrats, how they do things. And I guess it's half the fault of the population as well for allowing them to be yanked around like this. But that propaganda, it works well, guys. It works really well. And the Democrats, the liberals, they know how to use it. It's not the first time propaganda has worked on a population. I mean, you can look Russia, China, Mao. I mean, it's just in all of history, you can look back where they've used these same Marxist tactics to brainwash a population. But moving on, this is big news, guys. I'm excited for this one. Donald Trump to sue the DOJ for $100 million over Mar-a-Lago raid, alleging political persecution. And Trump's attorney says it's unconstitutional. Raid should never have been approved by Merrick Garland and Christopher Wray. Of course, Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, Christopher Wray, the Director of the FBI. And I tend to agree with him. What do you guys think? But this is exclusive Fox News. Former President Donald Trump is set to sue the Justice Department for 100 milli in damages over the government's unprecedented 2022 raid on his Mar-a-Lago property, which is only worth $18 million. Did you guys know that? Mar-a-Lago is only worth $18 million. According to Letitia James. That's not coming from me, so that's an official source, right? In Palm Beach, Florida, with lawyers arguing it was done with clear intent to engage in political persecution, and that it was. Fox News has obtained Trump's memo claiming tortious conduct by the United States against President Trump. Trump and his legal team intend to sue the Justice Department for its conduct during the FBI's raid on Mar-a-Lago on August the 8th, 2022, amid the federal investigation into his alleged improper retention of classified records. After the raid, Special Counsel Craig Smith was appointed to investigate. Smith ultimately brought 37 felony counts against Trump, including willful retention of national defense information, conspiracy to obstruct justice, and false statements. Trump pleaded not guilty to all counts. So you guys know the story. I mean, most of us have kind of at least have a pretty good idea of the whole classified documents thing and what happened with that FBI raid into Mar-a-Lago. They had if there was, they were all armed to the teeth. You know, they went in there plain clothes. The FBI went in there plain clothes, no identification. And then in the orders, they were ordered if they came across anything dangerous or whatever, that they can literally open fire in Mar-a-Lago, which, you know, is kind of concerning because, I mean, one of the things that that just comes to mind to me when I look at the whole situation is the FBI going into Mar-a-Lago with plain clothes, just executing this raid. You know, Mar-a-Lago has security too, so what are they going to think? You know, and there's a chance for something bad to go down. You know, them doing it like that, and there's reasons why they do the things they do. You know, they try to goad you, they try to bait you into doing something that they can, you know, further down the line slap you with and prosecute you for. And then not only that, but then they can hold that up, pedestalize that, and show it to the public and demonize you over. Kind of like what happened on January the 6th. Same exact thing. Same exact thing. For anybody that thinks that there were not agent provocateurs in that crowd, I mean, you guys are just crazy. But Donald Trump has announced, also, more Donald Trump stuff here. He's been a busy guy lately. But Donald Trump announces his 20 core promises to the American people. We're going to go through these one by one really quick. Number 1, seal the border and stop the migrant invasion. Number 2, carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. Number 3, end inflation and make America affordable again. Number 4, make America the dominant energy producer in the world by far. Number 5, stop outsourcing and turn the United States into manufacturing superpower. Number 6, large tax cuts for workers and no tax on tips. That's interesting. Wait a second. Didn't Kamala Harris? Guys, I don't know. I don't know what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing double. Kamala Harris and Trump. Wow. We're going to talk about that one here in a little bit, though. But number 7, defend our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and our fundamental freedoms, including freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the right to keep and bear arms. Now, that one, I think, is so valuable right there. Like all these other ones, yes. But I mean, we have the Democrats, this liberal agenda, this radical progressive agenda coming up, not just opening the border. I know we like to focus on these things, and then we like to focus on inflation and all that. Very important stuff that needs to be fixed. But at the same time, they are constantly marching on with trying to erode our Bill of Rights, the freedom of speech, freedom of the press, the Second Amendment. And these are things that need to be defended at all costs. And when I say at all costs, I mean at all costs. You get rid of those things, we're talking about that's society crumbling stuff right there. Be like a new dark ages all over not just the United States, all over the world. Because we really are the nation that other countries still look to and flee to when things really get bad. With all of our faults, with all the crazy stuff we do, we still are that country. Why? Because the other countries are so much worse. I mean, look at Canada, look at the UK right now. It's dystopian what's happening there. But number 8, prevent World War III, restore peace in Europe and in the Middle East, and build a great Iron Dome missile defense shield over our entire country, all made in America. Oh, there you go. Number 9, end the weaponization of government against the American people. That's a good one. I know he's already suing the DOJ, so that might be part. He's already implemented that part of the plan. Number 10, stop the migrant crime epidemic, demolish the foreign drug cartels, crush gang violence, and lock up violent offenders. Number 11, rebuild our cities, including Washington, D.C. Number 12, strengthen and modernize our military. Number 13, keep the U.S. dollar as the world reserve currency. Number 14, fight for and protect Social Security. Number 15, cancel the electric vehicle mandate. Number 16, cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, radical gender ideology, and other inappropriate radical sexual or political content on our children. Yes. Number 17, keep men out of women's sports. 18, deport pro-Hamas radicals and make our college campuses safe. Number 19, secure our elections. Number 20, unite our country by bringing it to new and record levels of success. So very strong 20 core promises from Donald Trump. Not vague at all, really. Very specific what he's talking about here. And we'll see. We'll see how many of the other ones that Kamala Harris copies from Donald Trump. You got to look at it. Actually, I'll talk about it later because that one really made me laugh. But moving on, guys. Donald Trump was in Colorado this weekend for a fundraiser. Former President Donald Trump scheduled to visit Colorado for a high-dollar fundraising dinner this weekend. Trump is set to give remarks at the dinner in Aspen on Saturday. The specific event location is not listed, but here are some of the members that were in attendance. Ambassador Duke Buchanan III Buchan. Is that how you, Buchan? Buchan. Duke Buchan III. Buchan. You guys always roast me for saying names wrong, but guys, be easy on me. Mindy and Jeff Hildebrand, Warren Lichtenstein, Andrew McKenna, Drew McKnight, Carol and Larry Meisel, Amy and John Phelan. Wait a second. I feel like I know that name somehow. I'm trying to picture the name. Diane and Tom Smith. Attendees can give or raise money to attend, $500,000 per couple to join the host committee, $100,000 per couple to co-host, and $25,000 per couple to attend. So that's what Donald Trump was up to this weekend, other than, of course, holding his rally in Montana. And he also, while he was in Colorado, he met with a group of Denver police officers. So Donald Trump, he's not just going to ignore, the layman. He's got to pay them some respect because that's who Donald Trump is. So this is Donald Trump greeting the police officers. True populist right there. Connecting with the people in a real way. Donald Trump, I mean, he's just a real person. Something Kamala Harris can never be, and of course, Tim Walz can never be as well. They're just, I don't even know what to call them. They're fake people. Everything they do is simply for appearances. You can tell it's not coming from the heart. Donald Trump, you can tell it is. And he has stories historical from people historically talking about what a personable person Donald Trump is. They're two very, very different people. But the media is going against or attacking Donald Trump over something new, guys. Apparently. Big news, guys. Trump reportedly used a slur against Harris in private conversations. Now, first of all, I want you to recognize what Politico is doing here, okay? They're saying that Trump used a slur. Why do they use the term slur? Well, because people, this goes back to what I tell you guys about how the media uses headlines. They know a lot of people don't make it past the headlines, right? So they will report in the headline, Trump used a slur against Harris. And a lot of people are going to immediately look at this and interpret it as Donald Trump used a racial slur. That's first of all. Second of all, this was an anonymous source. So this slur, supposedly, that was used against Kamala Harris was the B word, which hey, you know what? If the shoe fits, I'm sorry. Hey, listen, is it a nice thing to say about someone? No. But is it accurate? I would say yes. But, I guess we got to keep things civil. But that's neither here nor there. Number one, he used a slur. Really, Politico? You're going to do that? Once again, showing that you're a weaponized mainstream media outlet against Trump. And number two, an anonymous source. Really, Politico? Do you think we believe you? I don't know. A little bit dubious. I guess it wouldn't surprise me, but at the same time, I don't know. But the New York Times cited two people who on different occasions heard Trump call Harris a B word. And the people were granted anonymity to describe private discussions. Yeah. But Stephen Chung, this is Trump's campaign spokesperson, says that is not language President Trump has used to describe Kamala, and it's not how the campaign would characterize her. So the Politico is reporting that Trump is using slurs against Kamala Harris. The slur is the B word. The sources are anonymous, and then Stephen Chung's Donald Trump's spokesperson, Stephen Chung, has said that this is not true. So if you were to ask me, I would say I would lean on it not being true. But who knows? I mean, personally, I think it's true. Or I think I don't think it's true that Trump said it. I think it's true that she is one. Okay. I just want to make my stance very clear. She is a total. Okay. I'm going to move on to the next topic, guys. Stop making me talk about this. I try to be nice and not call people B words, but it's getting really hard the longer this campaign goes on. Donald Trump, of course, he has set up 3 different debates with Kamala Harris. She has only agreed to one, the one on ABC, and she's most likely not going to agree to any more because she's a chicken and she sounds like a moron when she opens her mouth. So Donald Trump is going to host town halls if Harris bails on Fox News and NBC debate offers. So that's going to be interesting. That's good news. Donald Trump saying, hey, if you don't show up, I don't care. We're still going to be there. And we're going to be talking to the American people, whether you show up or not. That's your decision. But I've set these dates and I'm at least going to show up. And maybe he'll have an empty podium standing right next to him. I think he should. That'd be very interesting. But moving on to Donald Trump being hacked, his campaign was hacked. This is the post that Donald Trump truthed out on Saturday, I do believe. He says, "We were just informed by Microsoft Corporation that one of our many websites was hacked by the Iranian government. Never a nice thing to do. They were only able to get publicly available information, but nevertheless, they shouldn't be doing anything of this nature. Iran, and others will stop at nothing because our government is weak and ineffective, but it won't be for long. What Iran does or doesn't realize is that I will make the world a better and safer place, and that's good for them also." So it was reported, though, that this hacker did get some documents that were related to J.D. Vance and some research that was done on J.D. Vance. And this hacker took these documents, took this research, and gave it to Politico. And this is what Politico is reporting. They say, "We received internal Trump documents from individual called Robert. Then the campaign confirmed it was hacked." So Trump says they only got publicly available information, and Politico is saying that they got internal Trump documents. The campaign suggested Iran was to blame. Politico has not independently verified the identity of the hacker or their motivation. So let's take a look at this, see what's going on here. Let me zoom out just a little bit because the text is a little bit large there. Trump's campaign said that some of its internal communications had been hacked. The acknowledgement came after Politico began receiving emails from an anonymous account with documents from inside Trump's operation. The campaign blamed foreign sources hostile to the United States, citing a Microsoft report on Friday that Iranian hackers sent a spear phishing email in June. A spear phishing email? What is the difference between a regular phishing email and a spear phishing email? I know what a phishing email is. It's like, isn't it like when they make a web page look like a Facebook login account? They make it look like a real Facebook login page, and they send it to your email, and you try to log in, and they steal your password and stuff there. That's a phishing email, right? Now, what is a spear phishing email? I don't know what that is. But they sent this email in June to a high-ranking official on Trump's presidential campaign. Microsoft did not identify the campaign targeted by the email and declined to comment Saturday. Politico has not independently verified the identity of the hacker or their motivation, and Stephen Chung declined to say if they had further information substantiating the campaign's suggestion that it was targeted by Iran. These documents were obtained illegally from foreign sources hostile to the United States. On Friday, a new report from Microsoft found that Iranian hackers broke into the account of a high-ranking official on the U.S. presidential campaign in June 2024, which coincides with the close timing of President Trump's selection of a vice presidential nominee. So now it talks about here this Robert guy, this hacker who calls himself Robert. Over the course of the past few weeks, the person who used an AOL email account and identified themselves only as Robert relayed what appeared to be internal communications from a senior Trump campaign official. A research dossier the campaign had apparently done on Trump's running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, which was dated February 23rd, was included in the documents. The documents are authentic, according to two people familiar with them, and granted anonymity to describe internal communications. One of the people described the dossier as a preliminary version of Vance's vetting file. So that's what's going on with that. These campaigns, of course, before they ask someone to run, be the running mate or to be the candidate, of course, they have this pretty rigorous vetting process that is done. They dig into your life. This is a reason why a lot of people don't want to get into politics because, people do stuff over the course of their life that they regret. And if there is an embarrassing thing that could come out about, a person during a campaign, the other side will dig it up and expose it. And we see it all the time. It's, of course, the worst, during the presidential campaigns because the stakes are so high. So they will literally dig up anything on these candidates to try to expose them. But that is what's happening with the hacking. Donald Trump apparently hacked by Iranian hackers. I mean, I guess, I don't know. It's just interesting because, the Secret Service and the FBI kind of indicated a little bit that Thomas Crooks might have some connection to Iran. And then this, I don't know. It seems like just, I don't know, guys. All of this Iran talk just seems a little bit too weird to me. I don't know. I don't know anything about Iran, though. Just weird how everything's being all of a sudden blamed on Iran. Doesn't that seem weird to anybody else other than me? Because it seems weird to me. But I'm just a dude. Moving on to this AI crowd scandal from Kamala Harris. Donald Trump truthed this out and says that Kamala Harris is sharing AI-generated crowds. These crowd shots that we see online, that people see on Twitter and Facebook. People are claiming that Kamala Harris is embellishing the crowds with AI software. Take a look at a couple of these pictures. Just preface this. I'm not sure where these pictures came from. I'm just going to show you the ones that I have found online. The ones that I've seen the most, been circulated the most. I can't verify the source of these images. So I'm not going to say they came from Kamala or not. I don't know. I'm just showing you the ones I see circulated online. But this is the one that Donald Trump shared. I'll show you here in a bit. Let's read what he said. He said, "Has anyone noticed that Kamala cheated at the airport? There was nobody at the plane, and she AI'd it and showed a massive crowd of so-called followers, but they didn't exist. She was turned in by a maintenance worker at the airport when he noticed a fake crowd picture. But there was nobody there. Later confirmed by the reflection of the mirror-like finish on the vice presidential plane. She's a cheater, and she had nobody waiting, and the crowd looked like 10,000 people. Same thing is happening with her fake crowds at her speeches. This is the way the Democrats win elections, by cheating, and they're even worse at the ballot box. She should be disqualified because the creation of a fake image is election interference. Anyone who does that will cheat at anything." And this is the photo that he shared. Now, let me see if I can magnify this image just a bit here. So, if you look, this is the photo that was shared, that he shared right here. I believe this was shared by the Harris campaign, of a large crowd, it appears. Wish I could make this bigger. Let's see. Like a large crowd by her Air Force Two, by Air Force Two. Very large crowd holding up signs. And then, if you look here, this is what was shared to kind of debunk this crowd shot. There's a reflection. What is this, in the fuselage? Is that the fuselage of the airplane? Or like the jet part of the airplane? There's a reflection where it doesn't appear that there's anybody there. So that is what Donald Trump is sharing right there. Just going to leave it there so you guys get a good look at it. So what's going on? I don't know. It's kind of weird. So Trump is pointing that out. But also, he shared the whole picture. This is like a full version of what the picture was. Let's magnify this. So I can't really, I'm trying to zoom into where that last photo was zoomed into, but it's kind of distorting the picture. But that's what we have right there. See if it'll. So, oh, here we go. No, it's still kind of distorting a little bit. The more I zoom in, the more grainy the photo gets. So, is that a real photo? I've seen it posted many, many times on X. And also, there's some other photos that are circulating on X. These are the ones I really can't verify the authenticity of. But here are some more. Here are some more photos that are being circulated on X. Like these people, they really had that uncanny AI Valley thing going on, if you know what I mean. And it's pretty apparent in some of these photos. They have like 4 arms and stuff like that. But, you know, I don't know where these photos came from. These are the ones, like I said, these are being shared around. So it's very interesting. Definitely some funny business going on. But Kamala Harris, she was in Las Vegas for a rally. And, you know, they're trying to make it appear that Kamala Harris is having these giant rallies, that she's having amazing turnout. And I'm not going to say that she's having really terrible turnout. She's had some pretty large size rallies. If you look at her rally in Georgia, it was pretty big. But then you look at the fact that she brought Megan Thee Stallion to sing or to rap during her rally. So she's using a lot of these different tactics of bringing famous people to her rallies to pad the numbers. But even with these decent numbers, they are really not seeing that great of a turnout. They're seeing good turnout, but not that great of a turnout. But what they are doing is they're trying to put up this veneer of selling out an arena. Okay. So a lot of times you'll see these arenas, they'll take a picture in a very specific location in this arena, and it looks like this whole arena is just cram-packed full of Harris Walz supporters. And even though it's a lot of people, what they're doing is they are hanging on the upper decks where these upper seats are, like the nosebleeds and all these other seats. They're hanging large black sheets to make it appear there's no seats up there. So it's kind of an optical illusion where it makes this rally look larger. And this person filmed
farther this way
behind these sheets so you can kind of see how many seats are not being filled. You see those giant black sheets?
But you know how it is. So
that's kind of the reality.
Just so you guys see the amount of seats here, there's well over 1,000 seats that have been basically completely blacked out. Once they realized the attendance wasn't going to be this much, they started drawing the curtain farther this way and then farther this way as well. Yeah, as you see.
So it really appears like Kamala's honeymoon period may be coming to an end, slowly trickling to an end. I mean, she still had a decent turnout at this rally, but not that great. If you look, I mean, pretty abysmal right here. Pretty abysmal. I mean, giant sections are completely left open. This is in Las Vegas. So yeah, that's Kamala Harris's rally in Las Vegas. So it's very interesting. But according to the New York Post and Speaker Mike McCarthy, or Kevin McCarthy, sorry, I always call him Mike McCarthy. I'm a big Green Bay Packers fan myself, and for some reason, Mike McCarthy's name is are always on the tip of my tongue, even though he's already gone and moved on to Dallas. But Speaker Kevin McCarthy says that Obama is secretly running Kamala Harris's campaign. Former President Barack Obama is secretly running Kamala Harris's presidential campaign, using his people to direct her bid, ex-Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy claimed on Sunday. He says, if you're watching the campaign now, some of Obama's key people, such as David Plouffe and others, are now working on the campaign. He said this on 770 WABC's The Cats Roundtable. I think that's in, isn't that in New York? I believe it's in New York. I could be wrong on that. He says, you're getting the Obama shifting from running the White House to now running this campaign. Obama's former top advisors have had major roles with Team Harris. Obama's Attorney General Eric Holder helped handle the vetting process for Harris's selection of a running mate for vice president. So Eric Holder, the AG, the former AG vetted Tim Walz. That's interesting. Eric Holder vetted Tim Walz. I wonder how the heck he didn't foresee this whole stolen valor thing being a problem, or if he thought it really was a non-issue. That's kind of crazy. So there you go, guys. Looks like Obama is looking to run for a, sixth term now? Because, he was involved in Joe Biden's campaign. But we have some more media videos propagandizing, trying to brainwash and gaslight the American people on Kamala Harris being the border czar. And this time, this is from the exact same person on ABC. This is this guy named John Carl. He is an ABC News chief Washington correspondent and author of Tired of Winning, Donald Trump and the End of the Grand Old Party. So not a fan of Donald Trump. This is ABC's chief Washington correspondent. Yes, so very, very serious title that you should take very seriously. But this is him talking about Kamala Harris being the border czar in 2023, and then now in 2024 saying that Kamala Harris was never the border czar. Incredible. Listen.
It was back in 2 years ago, more than 2 years ago, that the president put Vice President Kamala Harris in playing a critical role in terms of trying to stop the flow of migrants across the border. I mean, she was more than 2 years ago. She got this responsibility.
No, she's not actually. She wasn't the border zone.
It was back in.
Oh, okay. So there, he's explaining all of the responsibilities she had of the border because that's what she was given. She was given these responsibilities to handle the border. And, I mean, it's pretty obvious that she did handle the border because the border is wide open. That's how she handled the border. That's what she wanted. That's what Joe Biden wanted. That's what she wanted. That's what Alejandro Mayorkas wanted. They just wanted millions of illegals to flood into the country. And she was given the responsibility, and she handled it. And that's how she handled it, obviously. But this is such a liability for her that these propaganda media companies, state-controlled media, ABC, CNN, MSNBC, CBS, they are, of course, running cover for Kamala Harris and trying to lessen that liability as much as possible because the border is a big issue in people's minds. And if people know that Kamala Harris was directly responsible for that, they might not vote for her. And they shun it. So it's very incredible to see, guys. And every time I see this, it enrages me. It's the main thing I probably rant about on this program, on my show, is not even necessarily Republicans and Democrats. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. I really don't care. You could be whatever. What bothers me is how the media, this is the biggest thing, is how the media just lies to people. They use, people, you should trust them a whole lot more in the past. And they use this credibility that they have built up over time, and they are trying to cash it in. And on certain parties, certain candidates like Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, and it's never been more obvious than now because we have the internet, of course. The internet makes these things almost glaringly obvious to the point where if you are someone who still believes the media is telling the truth to you or is still trying to be fair, I believe that you are being willfully ignorant. I don't think there's anything wrong with observing the media, watching it, and seeing what they're talking about because that kind of sets the agenda and what everybody else talks about. But it's very important to know that these media companies, they don't have your best interests at heart. And they're not just relaying information to you. They're not just telling you the news like, oh, here's the weather and here's what happened today. No. These media companies have a specific agenda. And that's okay. I mean, if you are a company, you have a specific agenda, that's all you. But they purport to be a news company, and they try to sell themselves as unbiased, that they're plain fair, when really that is completely not true. Just today, I read where Time Magazine is running a cover with Kamala Harris, like a full face cover of Kamala Harris. And I believe on the cover it says, "It's her time." I mean, there's nothing really wrong with that. I mean, go ahead and do that, Kamala Harris, or Time Magazine. But I just remember just a few weeks ago, right after Donald Trump had his attempted assassination, where you refused to run the cover with Donald Trump and his fist in the air. It was that iconic photo. And that was going to be the cover. I believe you can order a variation of that magazine with that cover on it, but the main cover was not the one with Donald Trump and his fist in the air, even though that's like the photo of the freaking century. Because they didn't want to, get too political. So they ran a different cover of that event. But they will run this cover. Here, I actually have it. Let me show it to you guys. This really bothered me when I saw this. So this is the cover that Time Magazine. Hold on a second. This is the cover that Time Magazine is running of Kamala Harris right here. Look at this. Her moment. Yes, her moment. Full-faced Kamala Harris. There's Kamala signs in the background. If you can't really see them, let me magnify this a little bit. So if you look, there are these Kamala Harris signs in the background, campaign signs. So they won't run a photo of Donald Trump with his fist in the air, but they will basically campaign for Kamala Harris, put her face on their magazine cover, and say it's her moment. So that kind of tells you everything you need to know about the fairness of the mainstream media. It's not fair at all. They're not even attempting to appear fair anymore. But exciting news, guys. Kamala Harris has finally announced a policy. Yes, she announced a policy. And guys, it's a very interesting one. You're not going to believe it. Kamala Harris announced a policy, no tax on tips. Wow.
Including to raise the minimum wage and eliminate taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers.
Whoa.
Destroy Social Security. I am going to leave Social Security. I'm not raising the years. I'm not raising the age. I will be saving Social Security, and I'm going to work it out that there's no tax on Social Security for seniors. I'm also doing no tax on tips. No tax on tips.
Wow. So you're saying that Kamala Harris stole this idea from Donald Trump. Whoa. Incredible. Well, it's very interesting because if you look at, there's an article from February of 2023, because, Kamala Harris is part of the Biden administration. It's still part of the Biden administration. She's Joe Biden's vice president right now, right? And there's this article that I dug up from Fox News that's very interesting, that completely contradicts what she's saying now. All of a sudden, she's on this no tax on tips bandwagon. But her administration actually cracked down on waiters and waitresses' tips. Look at this. This is from February 7th, 2023. And this is a Fox News article. Biden's IRS plans to crack down on waiters' tips. They're coming after waitresses' tips now. Tax expert Mike Palitz says the IRS proposed a revenue procedure this week to crack down on service industries reporting tips. Huh. Yes, and it's true, guys. If you actually look at this, this is what happened shortly after Biden announced this. This is IRS.gov, of course. You all love it. You all love the IRS. You all love them taxes. IRS introduces new service industry tip reporting program. So Very interesting. Kamala Harris, why didn't you do something about this when you were in office? I mean, this is like a direct contradiction to what you're saying now. No tax on tips, but your administration specifically introduced more regulations and more ways to tax waiters and waitresses. And this is where the media pick up the slack and they propagandize the American people. Because will they report this? No. You might have one or two that talk about it here and there in a passing way, but you're not going to see anyone hold Kamala Harris's feet to the fire over this. Because it's hypocritical. I mean, it's obvious what she's doing. She knows that that's a hugely popular platform for Donald Trump, a hugely popular policy that Donald Trump implemented. It went viral. People were writing vote Trump for no tax on tips on receipts. I've done it many times. And now Kamala Harris is trying to plagiarize this because all they care about is simply getting the votes. They don't care about the follow through. They just want to get into office. That's all they care about. Get into office, constrict laws to try to get more power and, move on to the next one. It's very frightening stuff. But moving on, speaking of frightening stuff, Kamala Harris's Secret Service team was forced to issue an apology after they broke into a salon in Massachusetts while Harris was at a fundraiser nearby. A female agent was seen duct taping a camera outside the business while agents picked the lock. Once inside, the agents reportedly used the bathroom over a 2-hour period. They didn't even have the audacity to ask for permission. They just helped themselves, the shop owner said. The Secret Service admitted that everything was done wrong. They were not supposed to tape my camera without permission, nor were they supposed to enter the building without permission. So these people just think they can do whatever they want. This is the security footage. Secret Service approaching. So kind of standing around looking. Walk away. So they walk away and they come back here in a second. So she comes back. This is the Secret Service doing this. She takes a chair and takes some tape. And this is where she duct tapes. She puts duct tape over the security camera. This is the United States Secret Service acting like common criminals. Breaking into someone's shop. And then this is the interior of the shop. So apparently they picked the lock. They broke into her shop. And they're just walking around pretending they own the place. Incredible. That's just wild. So the United States Secret Service, crazy. Just, what's yours is theirs, guys. What's yours is theirs, and it's for the regime to use how they want. Incredible. Moving on, Jesse Ventura, guys. Yes, we have lost another one. This one I didn't see coming. But I guess he is from Minnesota, so maybe Minnesota Governor Tim Walz did his little juju Marxist mind control trick on him or something like that. But Jesse Ventura has gone woke? What? Come on. So he has endorsed Kamala Harris, and the reason is the craziest reason I've ever heard. Because he wants to see the first female president before he dies. Yeah, forget about all of us, who still have to live on this earth with a Kamala Harris president if she were to get in the White House. Forget about all of us. You just want to see the first female president? Jesse, come on, man. That's a ridiculous way of thinking, and you know it, but listen.
I'm going to be selfish. A few years ago, I got the opportunity to see the United States elect its first black president. I didn't think that could ever happen. And they even reelected him. Well, now I'm going to be selfish again. I've only got a few elections to go. I'm 73 years old now, so the window's closing. I want to be alive to see the first woman president of the United States of America and the first woman commander-in-chief, and we've got her right now.
Okay, so I don't know that much about Jesse Ventura, but I thought he was like a libertarian or something like that. I always thought Jesse Ventura was a libertarian. Is he not? Am I completely wrong? So very interesting to see him endorsing Kamala Harris and saying it's because she's a woman. He wants to see a woman president. But ladies and gentlemen, the official story from the Harris campaign and the media, of course, that runs propaganda for the Harris campaign, is that Walz misspoke in saying that he served in war. Yes, this is from the Harris campaign. And also when I say it's from the media too, is because the media is amplifying this because they want people to believe the lie that Walz just simply misspoke. But like I said before, if he misspoke, he should hold some sort of record for misspeaking, because it's like every time I log on to Twitter, go online, there's another video recording or something of Walz misspeaking. So it's not just about him carrying weapons of war in war. So he spoke about serving or being in combat, but also about retiring with this this title of Command Sergeant Major, which is not true. And another video of him dropped. This I just saw this late last night. It dropped. I saw this of Tim Walz misspeaking again. Wow, this guy's got a problem. He should take some medication for all the misspeaking he's doing. But listen.
Well, I want to thank Jerry and thank all members of the Post here for your gracious invitation and for welcoming us in here. I do sit on the Veterans Affairs Committee, and we're going to spend some time today, as much as you need, updating you on information on what's happening with veterans care, where the legislation is moving. But most importantly, I'm here to listen as you tell me on areas that we need to make adjustments to, and then I can take your voice back to Congress. I have a unique privilege in Congress, is that by being elected from this district and being a retired Command Sergeant Major, I am the highest ranking enlisted soldier to ever.
Oh, okay. Well, that was, he just misspoke again. Dang, he must have some, you know what, guys, we shouldn't criticize him. He must have some form of Tourette's, okay? He probably has Tourette's. He can't help it. This is not something that Tim Walz can help, okay? That's what the Harris campaign should make this about. You guys want to make fun of somebody, a veteran with Tourette's? How dare you? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, because the Democrats will usually literally use anything to try to justify their actions. Oh, how dare you make fun of a strong black woman? How dare you make fun of this person who has this sexual preference? It's just like, what are you even talking about? Like, the guy's lying. The guy's a freaking liar. The guy's a pathological liar. And he was embellishing his rank and also embellishing the time that he, what he did when he served in the military in order to get somewhere. That's just plain and simple. That's obvious to see. And he did it multiple times. And, to gain some sort of advantage, and it's plain to see. It's not misspeaking, and for the media not to criticize that and to call that out is insane. But another misspeaking situation is this. It's a radio ad that Tim Walz did in 2006 for his congressional campaign, where he misspoke in his radio ad. Listen.
Hi, my name is Tim Walz, and I'm running for Congress here in southern Minnesota for several important reasons. But today I'd like to tell you about one issue that's very personal to me. I am a retired Command Sergeant Major in the Minnesota National Guard.
Okay, so there you go. Another misspoken word, misspoken sentence by Tim Walz. He's a retired Command Sergeant Major, which is in fact is not true which in fact is a lie. So I'm sure there'll be more of these coming out, but those are the ones. Those are the newest ones I found, the ones that trickled out over the weekend. So it's very, very interesting. But moving on to Joe Biden, guys. Got Nancy Pelosi we're going to talk about, and then JD Vance we're going to talk about. Then we're going to go to comments. So give me a little bit. I don't have a whole lot on either of those, but Joe Biden was having some R&R on the beach over the weekend. Yes, he spent nearly 40%. This is reported on by RNC Research. He has spent nearly 40% of his entire presidency on vacation. So there's old Joe Biden right there, enjoying some R&R after a long 3.5 years in the White House. Just must be really hard. Must be really hard on a person, the corruption and running the country into the ground. Very, very interesting. But also, in an interview with CBS, Biden said that the most important thing that we can do as Americans is to defeat Donald Trump. That is the most important thing as Americans that we can do. What? How about lower inflation? How about close our border? How about ensure that the world is not at war? But no, all of those things are secondary. What's really important is defeating Donald Trump. Listen.
When I ran the first time, I thought of myself as being a transition president. I can't even say how old I am. It's hard for me to get out of my mouth. Although it's a great honor being president, I think I have an obligation to the country to do the most important thing to do, and that is we must defeat Trump.
So that is the most important thing to do. And that's what you see, guys. Their entire platform, the Democrats' entire platform, is essentially Trump derangement syndrome. Vote for us because we're not him. And they demonize him. They call him all of these. They compare him to historical dictators. Like, seriously, it's wild. And they don't, Kamala Harris, they have built up this sentiment over so many years. Kamala Harris doesn't even have to have a policy platform. She doesn't, and then when she does introduce a policy, she copies Donald Trump. It's like, you got to be kidding me. Last one on Joe Biden. Joe Biden talks about being pressured out of the race. Listen.
Look, the polls we had showed that it was a neck-and-neck race. Would have been down to the wire. But what happened was a number of my Democratic colleagues in the House and Senate thought that I was going to hurt them in the races.
Oh.
And I was concerned if...
But wait, Biden. Hold on a second. But you won the primary. Aren't you guys the Democrat Party? I've said this before. I mean, you got 14 million votes, Biden. Why are you listening to the elites and the ones in your party instead of the people? The people allowed you to win the primary. That's the process that we go through in this country. The fact that that's even allowed for the Democrat Party to install this woman as the nominee makes me very uncomfortable about the future of this country. Let me tell you. That makes me highly uneasy when the elites can just install, hey, this is your nominee. So we got this nominee and this nominee. I mean, we talk about the illusion of choice now. Imagine what it would be like then. Like, the illusion is, I agree to some extent, we have this illusion of choice. But the illusion would be gone completely. Let's just say that. There would be no question that there is actually no choice. We can debate whether or not we have any say in what happens to our leaders, what happens in the White House and Washington, to our country. But at least we can have that debate. If the party elites just install candidates, the debate is gone. There's no question. We have zero choice in what happens in our country. We have zero choice who we choose as our leaders, as the president. Goodbye. See you later. Democracy completely gone. Incredible. Moving on to JD Vance, guys. Last one we're going to talk about. Actually, wait a second. No. We're not going to move on to JD Vance yet. Got one really quick video of Nancy Pelosi talking about Joe Biden. I know sometimes I forget. I'll skip over topics. I've done this a couple times. Not doing it today, though. So Nancy Pelosi talks about the Joe Biden dropout letter and indicates that he may not have written it. Listen.
I didn't accept the letter as anything but a letter. I mean, there are some people who were unhappy with the letter. Let me say, some said that some people were unhappy with the letter. I'll put it in somebody else's mouth.
What the heck is she even talking about? Who are these people? She can't even talk. She taught this letter, and then she makes all these hand gestures like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, dude, Nancy Pelosi, what is going on? Get that lady out of here. We don't want her anymore. What is this even? She can't even talk. She is a wacko, crazy individual pretending like she should hold some authority over all of our lives. It's pretty bonkers. Okay, we'll finish the video.
It don't even know. It didn't sound like Joe Biden to me. It really didn't. So,
it didn't sound like Joe Biden to me. It really didn't. You see that little smirk she gave? All right. I mean, these people are just sick, guys. I don't know. Okay. More evidence of media bias against Trump Vance. And this time it's with Wikipedia. If you want to look, check this out. Wikipedia scrubs JD Vance's military awards from his Wikipedia page. July 2024, he has his awards listed: Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal, Marine Corps Good Conduct Medal, Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, Iraq Campaign Medal, Navy and Marine Corps Sea Service Deployment Ribbon. And now, August 11, 2024, so this is next month, so this is yesterday, according to this picture, it's been scrubbed. All he has listed are Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal. So Wikipedia trying to take away from JD Vance's military accolades. Why? Well, because Tim Walz is being attacked over his provable and pretty disgusting stolen valor. JD Vance goes on ABC and talks about border czar Kamala's terrible open border policies.
One of the proposals that's in the platform, you've talked about it, Trump's talked about it, is a mass deportation. Now, I know he said, you'll start with the easy ones, the criminals, people who commit crimes, deport them. But he said deporting 15 to 20 million people. How do you actually do that?
Well, John, we have to start with the fact that we have a wide open southern border because our border czar actually set a lot of open border policies. They suspended.
She's not actually. She wasn't the border czar.
Oh, that was what the media called her.
Yeah. So this is the interview that I played you guys earlier, like that little snippet where this same guy last year was talking about Kamala Harris being the border czar, and now he's trying to correct JD Vance, saying, "Oh, she wasn't actually the border czar."
She assumed the title. She had control over a lot of our border policy at a time when they were suspending. Let me finish, John. The time they were suspending.
You see, guys, so sick, man. It's so sick how these media, I call it state-controlled media, like propaganda media, how they do this stuff. Like, it would be one thing if they try to cover for Trump as well. If you have, these media outlets, trying to make excuses for Kamala Harris, but they also make excuses for Donald Trump. But that's not what happens. It's like they hold Trump's feet to the fire. They hang on every word he says. They pick apart every single thing that he says, and they interpret it in the least gracious way possible. They interpret it and write his words in a way that would just shock anybody. But when Kamala Harris does something, it's like it's all sunshine and rainbows. She can't do any wrong. And they only report negative things on Kamala Harris and Tim Walz when they are absolutely backed into a corner, like on Tim Walz's stolen valor accusations. So on that, they're absolutely backed into the corner. They have to report on that, but then they try to spin it. They try to twist it and turn it and shake it up, go upside down, And at the end of the day, you don't know what's true, what's not. But the second interview that J.D. Vance gave, so he gave 3 interviews, right? First one, that was ABC. This one he gave with Dana Bash on CNN, where he talks about Tim Walz and his stolen valor accusations. Listen.
And on the question of when he left the National Guard, he filed his election paperwork February 10th, 2005. That was a month before the National Guard even announced that it was possible that they would deploy to Iraq, and it ended up being 2 months. He retired 2 months before they actually got the paperwork.
But on CNN last night, Dana, one of the people who was actually in charge of him said they knew they were going to deploy to Iraq in February of 2004, fall of 2004. So he knew he was going to Iraq. He decided to quit, to retire, whatever word you want to use.
Retire.
Because he wanted to run for Congress. He lied about that. He said that when he decided to retire, he did not know that he was going to Iraq. That is another untruth, as even his senior military officer said. So again, I'm not criticizing the service. I'm criticizing the dishonesty. Dishonesty spoken in favor and for the purpose of political benefit. And I think that the most important thing here, Dana, is it goes to Kamala Harris's judgment. Tim Walz is ultimately going to be the vice president. Kamala Harris is in great health. I'm sure she's going to be president if she wins for 4 or maybe even 8 years. Why did Kamala Harris choose a person who has lied about their military service?
And I completely agree. It doesn't make sense to me. Why? I mean, this is a huge liability. Someone to lie about their military service? That's a huge liability, but she chose him anyways. He was vetted by Obama, Eric Holder, Obama's attorney general. That makes no sense. There's no way that they didn't know about these inconsistencies. Unless, I guess there is a possibility, but that just doesn't make sense to me. Why would they choose? There must be something very valuable to them about this guy where they chose him, despite the fact that he lies about his military service. And if you were to ask me, it has something to do with China. China. Yes, that's only if you ask me. But last one we're going to talk about, guys. J.D. Vance, I'm just going to play a snippet of this video. But he calls out Kamala Harris for not giving any interviews after giving 3 interviews himself. He gave one with CBS, he gave one with CNN and ABC, but he calls out Kamala Harris for not doing the same. Listen.
Should expand the child tax credit. If you think about what the child tax credit does.
You and the Biden administration agree on the child care tax credit?
Well, we think it should be bigger. I think President Trump and I believe in expanded child tax credit, but we also importantly want to actually get this thing done. Mm-hmm. The child tax credit has languished thanks to the Biden administration because Harris has failed to show fundamental leadership. Chuck Schumer's been unable to get it through the United States Senate, and we want to have a more pro-family policy. Now,
there was just a vote on this, you know that. And you weren't there.
But Margaret,
it was a messaging bill. I'll give you that.
It was a show vote.
I'm with you on that.
And if I had been there, it would have failed.
So tell me specifically what you want to do to expand the child care tax credit, because it's like $2,000 per kid right now.
Well, I think one of the things you can do is make it bigger per child. I think we'd love to see it at a higher dollar value. And again, President Trump and I have proposed that. Look, I'd love to see a child tax credit that's $5,000 per child, but you, of course, have to work with Congress to see how possible and viable that is.
Do you view China as a competitor or an adversary?
I think they're both. Right? And I think that what we want to do here is build the kind of international order where we can check China. We don't want to go to war with China, but certainly they're an adversary. They know, for example, the Chinese know that they're manufacturing tons of fentanyl they're letting come into our country. Kamala Harris has done nothing about this. She should apply diplomatic and economic leverage over the Chinese to stop manufacturing this fentanyl, which then comes into the Mexican drug cartels, which they then ship into our country.
The United States has designated some of these groups
this is a
and pressed
scandal.
the Chinese government.
Oh, we could do so much more. Fentanyl
Sure.
is not easy to manufacture, Margaret. And if Harris was applying proper leverage to the Chinese and to the Mexican drug cartels, we would not have so many people dying of fentanyl. No, what President Trump said, and I haven't watched the whole rally.
What he said was not true.
What President Trump said, John, is that Tim Walz has supported taking children from their parents if the parents don't consent to gender reassignment. That is crazy. And by the way, Tim Walz gets on his high horse about mind your own damn business. One way of minding your own damn business, John, is to not try to take my children away from me if I have different moral views than
allowing
you.
the state to kidnap children to change their sexual identity.
What I just explained to you, I would describe as kidnapping, John. He has absolutely done this stuff. It's not.
Yes, he has.
Come on.
They know how unpopular these things are. They know how crazy these things seem to people. A lot of people don't even realize that this stuff is actually going on. They think that it's all a psyop by the right wing to point this stuff out, what Tim Walz has done in Minnesota. And this is the greater agenda of the radical leftists. It really is. But they've got to dampen that down. They got to hold that, put that, sweep it under the rug a little bit. But it really is the agenda, and it's incredible. So they've got to keep this story to regular Americans. There's Americans out there that vote Democrat that are just normal people like you and me. They just happen to vote Democrat. But unbeknownst to them, the Democrat Party has changed very rapidly over the past few years, and they are still psyoped into voting Democrat. And when you try to point to them like, listen, I don't think you guys really understand what the Democrat Party is doing now. I don't think you understand what it means to be a Democrat today. I don't think you understand what it means to be a liberal today. That whole thing has shifted radically left. You don't understand the policies that you're voting for. And they want this. They want the media and Democrats such as Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, they want to say that you're the one that's lying. You're the one that's lying about the radical policies that they're implementing. When in fact, no, you're just simply saying, you're calling a spade, saying, listen, this is what's going on. This is what's happening. And the media will just say, no, you're lying.
You should not be able to take people's children away from them.
And that's not what he's proposed.
If you disagree with decisions about gender reassignment.
It's already happening in Canada.
Proposed that, John.
And yes, he
absolutely has. Dana, I criticized his lying about his own record, okay? This is a guy who was captured on video saying, I carried a gun in war. He never went to war. This is a guy who's been captured on video. As other people say, he's an Afghanistan veteran. He's a veteran of a war, nodding along in agreement instead of saying, no, I did serve my country and I did it honorably, but I never went to a war zone. I'm not criticizing Tim Walz's service. I'm criticizing the fact that he lied about his service for political gain, Dana. You've now asked me 3 questions about comments that I made 3 years ago. I wonder what Kamala Harris thinks about the fact that she supported policies that opened the American southern border. I wonder what Kamala Harris thinks about the fact that she lied to the American people about Joe Biden's mental.
Yeah, trust me, Dana Bash, we know. We know you're not interviewing Kamala Harris, and you refuse to call her out. Yeah, J.D. Vance sits here, and he gives 3 interviews in one day on the platforms talking about Donald Trump, anything, just like, ask me anything, AMA. And they still refuse to call out the Harris campaign. What about Walz? When does he give an interview? What about Harris? When is she give an interview? They won't even hardly agree to a debate. Harris agreed to one debate, September the 10th, ABC. 1 out of 3 debates that was proposed by Donald Trump. Walz agreed to one debate, the end of September, with J.D. Vance. After the Minnesota early voting has already started. So they don't want Tim Walz to appear in a debate with J.D. Vance until after voting already starts in Minnesota. How is that even legitimate? That's crazy. But let's watch the rest of this this clip, guys. This is just kind of going through some of the highlights of all 3 of these interviews. But let's finish this and we'll get to the comments here in a second.
middle facility for the office. You are interviewing me, Dana, because I respect the American people enough to sit down for an interview.
I appreciate that.
Kamala Harris has been the nominee for 3 weeks. She hasn't sat down for a real interview.
Believe me, we are asking. You're not going to get a disagreement there.
But the point is, Dana, you've got me for 15 minutes or however long you have me. We should be talking about public policies that matter. How are we going to lower inflation? How are we going to reduce the cost of food and housing? How are we going to close?
Okay, so, it's kind of all the same stuff. I mean, and it's what's interesting to me is how Dana bashes, we are asking Kamala Harris. Well, asking is not the same as applying pressure, right? They might be asking behind the scenes for Kamala Harris to do, interviews and all these other things. But are they applying pressure on her campaign to do these things? Are they criticizing her in articles? Are they criticizing her on the news? Asking is not the same thing as applying pressure. And all they do, almost exclusively, is apply pressure to Donald Trump. They don't ask Donald Trump for this X, Y, and Z, They apply immense amounts of pressure to Donald Trump, and it's incredible. But ladies and gentlemen, that is a show for the day. How are you guys doing? Let's get to the comments to see what's up. Good to see everyone. I hope everybody had a good weekend. It's a great weekend. Hey, we got some of my fantastic members in the chat. Sandra Love says, drip, drip, then boom. Yes, I guess. We've got Shoemaker in the chat doing some modding. Hey, thanks, Shoemaker, representing LV Nation. We got Jeremy Brummer in the chat. Yes. Patrick H says, great show today. Yes, thanks, Patrick. I appreciate it. Then looking for Michelle. There's Michelle. Wait, is that Michelle? Yeah. Wait, no, that wasn't Michelle. Well, I saw Michelle somewhere in the chat. Michelle is also in the chat somewhere. My great mod doing a fantastic job. Thank you, Michelle. Always helping me out. Really appreciate Michelle. Oh, here we go. There she is. There's Michelle. I was getting nervous. I was like, no, I can't have a show without Michelle. Can't do that. I'm just kidding. Good to see you, Michelle. Scoop, one of my great members, says, I saw a putty tat. Well, yes. Good. Bill Phillips is in the chat, one of my other great members. If you guys interested in becoming a member, that really helps me out. Let's just say YouTube likes to mess with me. My live streams I do, they really like to rough me up with these things. The majority of them get demonetized as soon as they're streamed. So it's frustrating. So I appreciate my members for helping me out. But Bill Phillips, great to see you, man. I appreciate you. Texas Mouse says, good morning, Andrew. Hey, good morning, Texas Mouse. It's good to see you. But ladies and gentlemen. Oh, Trium. I'll become a member if you say my name. Okay. Trium Infinitum. There you go, Trium Infinitum. You promised. And I expect to read off your name tomorrow morning when I read off the members. But we do have one new member, I believe. Let me go check it out. Let's see here. Memberships. Okay. Queen Bee's Art Hive, new member. And then we have Tijuana Border Jumper is in his second month of membership. So thank you to Queen Bee's Art Hive and Tijuana Border Jumper for renewing his membership. If you guys join, I have a members only chat. The link is available in my members area on my YouTube channel. There's a link that I posted. So you join, and you can join the Discord chat. So make sure you do that. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. If you haven't yet, if you could please do me a favor and leave a like on this video. That would help me out, because when you like the video, it helps me get seen in more feeds. It tickles the algorithm a little bit. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing. And like I said, if you'd like to support the show, consider becoming a member. I would really appreciate it. But ladies and gentlemen, have a fantastic day. We will see you. Wait, hold on a second. I forgot to talk about one thing. 1 second. Don't go anywhere. Tonight, 7 p.m., I will be live streaming this Elon Musk Trump interview on X. Make sure you don't miss that, guys. I will be live streaming it. Like I said, it's a X space, so it won't be like we have video of them sitting down and talking to each other. As far as I know, X spaces are audio only. So, but that's beside the point. It's going to be an interesting interview. No holds barred, nothing off topic. 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you mark that. Make sure you hit the notification bell. You hit that drop down, hit the bell notification. It should give you a notification. But I will be streaming that tonight. So don't forget to miss that. But catch that. But ladies and gentlemen, have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow morning on the next one. God bless.